Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Dan Moorhead, who is the founder and CEO of Pantera Capital, was covered in a brand new article from the Daily Hodl. Here's the headline: Markets choosing Bitcoin and crypto over paper money. So says Pantera Capital CEO Dan Moorhead. And when Dan Moorhead speaks, I tend to pay attention. I've always found him to be rather insightful. Also happens to be a very pro XRP individual, and he cited that he anticipates, if you fast forward a decade, XRP will be one of the few cryptocurrencies that's actually still around. And he's been at the forefront of crypto technology for some time, I think it's safe to say. Although his firm was founded in the early 2000s, it was in 2013 that they opened up the first ever in the United States, anyway, the first ever United States-based crypto fund. So they became a crypto hedge fund, in addition to everything else that they were already doing for, about a decade or so. But that was back when Bitcoin, in 2013, when he started this fund, Bitcoin was $65. So he kind of gets the big picture stuff. Nobody on the planet perfectly understands that this is going to unfold, which is partly what makes this all so fun. It's quite the ride. It certainly has been for the 4 years that I've been here now. But yeah, he certainly in a general sense understands, yeah, you don't need a new form of money effectively for every business idea that's out there. So you don't need like 13,000 cryptocurrencies, but he certainly sees the long-term viability of XRP likely being a thing here. And he cited that as much. So anyway, I want to share with you his thoughts from that article, but also some opinions from just a few analysts having to do with what's happening right now in the market. So plenty to talk about, but I do want to be clear at the outset, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And at the time I'm recording this, XRP is at $1.22, Bitcoin at $64,980, market cap for the asset class $2.93 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance at 41.75%. And so XRP, it's fine. You could be asking here, because this is actually part of what Dan Moorhead was saying, that basically thanks to Bitcoin, we're in a new price era, as far as specifically as Bitcoin is pertained a concern. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, well, if that certainly is true, and you'll see when we get to it, if that's true, then things are going to get freaking ballistic for XRP. I'll tell you, talk about a new freaking price era. But anyway, after the dip that we saw just the other day, like XRP, it's been fine. It's not at the height of where it was right before the dip happened, but before it had its slow climb with the rest of the market, it's about where it was. And there are other cryptocurrencies that have bounced back, which I'm going to highlight in just a second here, but at least one of them. But take a look at this first. This is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. How are the retail speculators feeling? Well, I'll tell you what, better than you might have necessarily guessed, or maybe you would have guessed it, given the extreme volatility yesterday. Things kind of leveled out with Bitcoin and everything else, so I guess it's not that surprising. But here you are, 74 out of 100, indicating market participants are still in greed mode. And take a look at this. Here's a tweet from chart analyst Credible Crypto, who simply wrote, H-bar has now fully retraced the dump. Commence the pump. And there are a lot of XRP holders that are also fans of H-bar, so I don't mind highlighting this from time to time. But it's actually above where it was at the height before Bitcoin, before the Bitcoin-led dump. And so it did get down as low as what? Let me see, it was down to 38 cents probably. I'm guessing. Lowest I can find right now is 39 cents. So yeah, after Bitcoin led the dump just the other day, it went down with the rest of the market, but then it was like, yeah, we don't want to do that. We're just going to go right back on up. So it's good to see, though. There are actually coins. This is just one that I picked because I know it's popular with XRP holders. But yeah, actually above that. What do you know? The market more or less moving in tandem, not down to the second, the minute, the day, the week, so on and so forth. But looking pretty damn good, all things considered. And then there was also... what did I want to highlight next? Oh yeah, here's another tweet. This is from Credible Crypto about H-bar also. Ladies, gents, and H-barbarians, we just got our first confirmed daily close above the supply zone that I was referring to below. Buckle up. Your patience is about to be handsomely rewarded. Now, look, although he's talking about H-bar there, and I'm sure a lot of you are thrilled to hear that because I know a lot of you also hold H-bar, even if you're not. The concept here remains Patience ends up getting rewarded ultimately in crypto. That has been the story of crypto for 12 years. And those that freak out over short-term negative price action, they just don't make it in the end. They really don't. Patience is what is rewarded here. So this is certainly true of XRP as far as I'm concerned. You make up your own decision. I've made mine. I've held all of my XRP for 4 freaking years, and I'm not going to sell it until or unless the price ends up way higher than what it is right now. And my bet is that at some point in the future, even though I don't pretend to know exactly when, that it will happen again, that another bubble will inflate, and that XRP will hit its all-time high in enterprise discovery. That's my bet. You get to make yours, though. So how's the altcoin market doing? Well, here's a tweet from chart analyst Michael Vandepop, who wrote, "Some retests for the altcoin market capitalization before continuation, question mark?" And so things not looking bad, certainly at the time. I mean, this tweet that he put out is just from a couple hours or so ago. But he does seem to think that it's perhaps reasonably probable that you're going to see the altcoin market cap, just everything that's not Bitcoin, maybe go down a little bit before heading back on up. And we'll see. You know, I kind of wonder, and you know what? It was interesting too, and I'm sure some of you caught this, but the blockchain backer's most recent video, he's delivering like some of the things he was talking about was like similar message to stuff that you heard in terms of like where you'd expect Bitcoin to top off, but man, the conviction with which he was delivering the message was, maybe it was just me, but I was listening. I was like, that sounds notable. He seems like, no, this is it. Probably part of the reason is because again, he was talking about how Bitcoin's going to top off soon. Like we're at the tail end of this. He could not be more confident that he's right. Bitcoin's going to top off, like whatever, $75,000, $80,000, whatever range he's been talking about, roughly around there. But he said that he is 99.9% sure that's correct. And I was like, okay, I can respect it. I do. I absolutely respect that. I don't know who's right because I follow a lot of different analysts and he's the only one that thinks it's going to top off that low. But I respect the gusto for sure. That's why it's so interesting. And we're far enough into this damn thing that we're really not going to have to wait that much longer to find out who ends up being right. And no matter who ends up being right, like, so if the blockchain backer's right and the other analysts that I follow, if they're wrong and Bitcoin doesn't get anywhere near $100,000, then you know what, that's fine. If they're actually all wrong, fine, I'll still respect them. And if the blockchain backer's wrong, this does nothing to change. I don't have, like, let's be real here. These are people. They don't know for sure what's going to happen. They do not have the crystal balls. And so there's no way to know for sure. And as a result, I don't expect them to get everything right. And nobody can. But I'm just looking at all of them, and they're all mostly correct. They just disagree on various things here, and they're all the analysts that I follow. So it's going to do nothing to change my opinion about any of them. Like, oh, you got that one thing wrong, even though everything else that you said was correct. Ooh, I can't trust you now. No. So I'm not going to look at it like, I don't know. And again, I'm sitting here telling you, I do not know. I don't have a strong opinion about this. But I'm so curious. I am so curious to find out. I mean, could it be the case, though? I don't know. If I had to lean one way over the other, I mean, absolutely. I'm a fan of the blockchain backer, nothing against him, but I got to wonder, could it really be the case that all of these other analysts who I know like are good analysts, are all of them wrong? Because none of them think anything even close to what the blockchain backer thinks. I don't know. That's part of what makes it so fun tracking this show. And I know you guys feel the same way, too, here. And look, we'd all love to see a higher price. Like, the blockchain backer would love for the blockchain backer to be wrong because he wants higher price too. Like, he's invested in this and he has been for years. So we'll see what happens here. It's chart analyst Michael Vandepop exactly on this topic. He wrote Bitcoin to $200,000 is inevitable. And he thinks it's going to be this market cycle. Again, this is the type of stuff I just keep seeing from people that I don't think are bad chart analysts. Are they all that wrong? Maybe. The answer is maybe. I don't know. Take a look at this too. Because another area of dispute is like whether or not the market cycles are lengthening. And if they are, fine. It just means we might have to wait slightly longer for XRP to pop, assuming it pops at the tail end of this market cycle. But I don't even care. Like we're almost all the way through this thing. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter. But here's something from Michael Vandepop. He wrote, even if we get a further corrective movement and we're not reaching $90,000 or $100,000 in the coming 50 days, the cycle still looks bullish. A lengthening cycle would be a great thing for Bitcoin, stepping away from the 4-year cycles. And so, like, I can't wait to have the post-mortem on what happens for the remainder of the cycle. It's going to be really fun to break this all down. All good things in time, my friends. So now into this from the Daily Hodl. Markets choosing Bitcoin and crypto over paper money. Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead. Piece begins as follows. Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead says Bitcoin is entering a new price era as the value of the United States dollar crumbles. Morehead notes in a new blockchain letter that inflation is at a 30-year high and housing affordability has plummeted to its worst level in over 15 years. And here's a quote from him. The market is choosing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over paper money, with which governments are conducting a very dangerous experiment. And again, friendly reminder here, Dan Morehead, very pro XRP. And he is, mind you, despite being an early Bitcoiner, and you know all the venom that has come along with that for most of the last decade that he's been participating, right? Anyway, Morehead notes that the US dollar has plummeted to an all-time low against hard assets with distinct qualities, including the S&P 500, copper, gold, sugar, lumber, oats, oil, and Bitcoin. And here's another quote from him. Pantera's core post-pandemic macro theme has been the unlimited printing of money will push up the price of things whose quantity cannot be eased. And so what he's talking about there when he says the quantity cannot be eased, it means it can't be printed into oblivion. He's referencing quantitative easing here, which is not some sort of intuitive term. If I were to tell you that I'm easing something in a quantitative manner, would you know what the hell it is that I'm talking about? Oh, it's easing. Well, that's probably a good thing, and it's quantitative. That sounds fancy and complex. Quantitative easing. It means money printing, bitches. Like that's all it means is money printing. that's it. Quantitative easing. So anyway, that's what he's referencing. But anyway, the largest crypto asset by market cap, by contrast, could be primed to surge even higher, Morehead argues. And here's another quote from him. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high on October 20th, reaching $66,930. The last time Bitcoin retook its all-time high after falling over 50%, it went 3.2x above that shortly thereafter. The average increase of the past 3 instances of making a new all-time high, 8.8-fold over a 166-day period. And so Dan Morehead has talked about this too, and I can't remember where he said he thinks we should expect Bitcoin to go before this market cycle's over, but if I recall correctly, yeah, the number's over $100,000. And it is what it is, folks. I'm just thankful we're finally going to find out so soon who was right, because you can't have this type of behavior in the markets in perpetuity. There are always corrections. Like I've said before, back when we were in extreme fear, if you look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, I said, I don't know when, but eventually, at some unknown point in the future, we will leave the extreme fear that the market's in right now and enter extreme greed. And it didn't take that long. You know, it just teeter-totters back. I've seen it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for 4 freaking years. It's not going to stop doing that. It's just, yes, over a longer period of time in a more mature market, volatility will decrease, especially as more money comes in, and so you'll see the teeter-tottering back and forth perhaps way less frequently at some unknown point in the future when the market's way more mature. But even then, markets are markets. It's gonna happen, right? But that's why it's so much more fun now, because you gotta understand the volatility is the volatility. It's the purpose of investing. It's the reason that we are all here. And that's why, to me, where I like having my money is in the most volatile asset class on the entire planet. And I understand all the risks associated with that. I'm not pretending there aren't any. This is where I want to be, for a reason. And I put in what I'm comfortable losing in case I'm actually wrong about all this, which I could be, but I have strong conviction too, and I sure as hell don't think I am. There's a reason I sleep easy at night, and I've been in this space for 4 years now. So that's where but I'll tell you, look, if he's right about this anyway, just in a general sense, what Dan Morehead is saying, and I always appreciate his perspective, which is why I thought I'd highlight this on the channel. Like, again, just imagine what it means for XRP, and he's like pro XRP, Mr. Pro XRP. He's like, yeah, fast forward a decade, almost all coins will be gone. There will be about, I think he said maybe like 10 or 12. He said something like that. And he said XRP is going to be one of them. And there's almost no money in XRP right now. So even if we're way off, even if everybody's way off about the timing of market cycles and this and that, and I don't think all of them are, but even if, it's just a matter of time. Because it doesn't take that much money flowing into something that doesn't have that much money in it, like XRP, to get it to just burst upward. As I record this, XRP's market cap is $57 billion. It's now at $1.23. Folks, I love that it's way higher than it was a year ago. because it was about a quarter a year ago if you go back, but this is nothing. $1.23 is like nothing. Not literally, but it might as well be. This is like 57 billion. It's going to look like a rounding error. So if XRP indeed is going to have long-term viability, and at this point at least, it looks like there's a reasonable shot to the yes. I'd say more than reasonable that yes, it could be here for the long haul. We need to continue to see long-term adoption, but the way it's looking right now, yeah. So like this is right where this is right where I want my money. I've done what I wanted to do over the last several years, and I feel very good about it to this point. And I think that final burst before this this XRP bubble fully inflates and pops, like it's a coming, folks. That's what I think anyway. I'll go ahead and wrap up here. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.